Hey, it's Doug with the Mahoney Mine, and I was just sitting out here looking at a bunch of ore, and I was thinking, I've looked online, and there's maybe a handful of videos on how to process silver ore, let alone what to look for and what the secret recipe is and what you need to do for the different types of silver, because silver is very, very different depending on what it's found along with. You can have silver that looks like one thing in your mine, and on the next ridge over, it looks entirely different. So today, let's talk about all the basic steps. In fact, let's make a list. What does it look like? How to process it? What are the steps involved? What's the best flux to use? Smelting, what temperatures, how long? Let's go over it from A to Z. So today on the Mahoney Mines channel, we're talking about silver.
Shiny in the middle.
It's got a lot of silver in it. God dang, that thing's heavy. Look at this rock right here. Okay, see the gray bands in there? That's silver ore. That's straight out of the Comstock district, the richest silver find in the history of America. And it might look like this. Or it might look like this. That's an entirely different looking rock. Same host rock, it's andesite. Look at these. See the different color ore in there? The dark stuff is silver. Maybe it's in some kind of a matrix like this one. See the dark in those? Silver ore. That's what we get out of the Comstock lode. All right, so what are you expecting to find? Something like this? It's not gonna look like it's already processed. More likely, silver's really good at hiding, and it could be in something that looks like this, but let's look at some museum specimens here. It's more of a gray silver metallic, at least in this area, that's what we find. These are actual samples out of a museum showing what comes out of the Comstock lode. There's your natural silver ore. In fact, there's a piece with some gold in it. So you found your rock and you're just determined that that running through it has got to be a silver vein. You can tell that that's got to be silver. So what's the next step? What do you want to do? You want to take your rocks and we want to make silver bars out of them. So it's time for step 2.
We're going to bring the temperature up to about 1200 degrees, and it's at 1200 degrees, and we will let it roast for 25 minutes. It's been 25 minutes, and we are going to take the ore out of the furnace.
Okay, so why did we roast the ore here? Are we releasing sulfides? Are we gaining oxides? Are we changing the chemical compound of it? Are we actually getting the silver ore, the silver portion to solidify? No, none of the above. All this does is it makes the rocks extremely brittle. It does allow some of the silver to kind of solidify together, but most importantly, this is going to make it a lot easier to crush. A lot of people think that this is what you do to release all the sulfides. That's not it. That comes after you crush it. All right, there's a gazillion ways to crush your ore. You can use a mighty mill, which is one of my favorite little tools for the small miner. You can crush it with hammers. You can use larger processing mills, but on any given day, even though we have larger mills and jaw crushers and all kinds of things, you'll see me out there hammering it down. And I make little bitty rocks, and I crush those little bitty rocks into powder. That's the best way to do it, is by hand. Now, if you have a whole bunch of ore and you want to crush it all up, you got to think your crucible's only going to handle so much. So once you crush your ore down, you want to get it as fine as possible, whether you're using a hammer or a mill or a jaw crusher. You want to get it just as absolutely powdery, sugar, floury, fine as you can. Once you've got it crushed, now it's time to roast it again. You've got it in smaller pieces, and now the sulfides can be released. For every sulfur molecule that goes away, you're replacing it with an oxygen molecule. But it's important to note, you're dealing with like 900 degrees here. It is very, very hot. It'll ruin equipment, and just be really careful. Okay, now for the fun part.
Alright, this is going to be a real easy recipe. We're putting in 16 grams of lead, 100 grams of material, and 200 grams of Mahoney Mine flux.
Alright, did you catch that? That's part of the recipe. Let's play it again.
Alright, this is going to be a real easy recipe. We're putting in 16 grams of lead, 100 grams of material, and 200 grams of Mahoney Mine flux.
Okay, so there it is. There's what you need to know. For every bit of ore you put in twice as much flux. Now, this is the most important thing you're going to see. This is our flux recipe for doing silver. I can prove it. It's right here. Look, this is the container that I take it out of, and I've got the recipe marked down on it.
That's 200 right there.
All right, really important. When you put in your ore and you put in your flux, do not overfill the crucible. You can go halfway, melt it down, go halfway again.
We're pushing so much heat that my heat gun that'll register 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit will not pick that up and register it. All it tells me is too high.
And if this has helped you perfect your method any, or given you any tips, greatly appreciate it. Let us know. And I want to show you, I wear around my neck, it's a piece of overspill from some of the bars that we were making. Let's see if I can show that to you. Nice little piece of silver that we've got right there. So man, this stuff works. That should be about everything that you need to know, A to Z. The rest you can figure out by yourself. If you're lost, if you have any comments, heck, even if you have criticisms, put them down there in the comment box. We do respond to everybody. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video from me, Tanya, and Radar, of course. Thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe button. It does help us out. We're trying like crazy to monetize this channel.